So I did a video literally a couple of hours ago saying that Andrea Kimi Antonelli had a fantastic F1 debut this weekend in Australia. Despite a poor qualifying session, he actually managed to finish P4 on the road and was classified in P5 after his penalty. However, since then, things have changed. Kimi Antonelli's penalty has been revoked. It's been overturned, so he keeps his P4 position, which I think at that point, that makes him the best debutant in Formula 1 since Kevin Magnussen got his P2 in 2014. Although, again, do correct me if I'm wrong there, guys, but yeah, seriously impressive. A very solid weekend for Mercedes on the whole. 3rd and 4th place in the Australian Grand Prix. But why has Antonelli's penalty been reversed? Well, let's have a look. I'll just go over the press statement here on the F1 website itself. Like I said, this is breaking news. It has just happened. I've not read why, but let's have a look at why this is. The 5-second time penalty handed to Kimi Antonelli during the Australian Grand Prix has been removed after the Mercedes team submitted a successful right of review request over the incident that sparked the penalty. In an action-packed race that featured changing weather conditions, the stewards deemed that Antonelli had been released into the path of Kick Sauber's Nico Hülkenberg in the pit lane and subsequently handed the Italian a 5-second time penalty. While Antonelli had worked his way towards the front of the field after starting P16 to cross the line in P4, the penalty resulted in the teenager being dropped down to P5 in what was his debut F1 race. However, after Mercedes petitioned for a right of review hearing that took place in which the Silver Arrows presented video from the roll hoop camera, which was previously unavailable. After this was examined, along with the additional video previously not being available to the stewards taken from the helicopter, the decision was taken to remove Antonelli's penalty, promoting him back up to 4th place. In a document released following the hearing, which was attended by representatives from Mercedes and Sauber as well as Williams, the latter having benefited from the penalty that given to Antonelli's demotion that promoted Alex Albon up to 4th, the reasoning behind the steward's decision to reverse the penalty was explained. It is clear that car 12, Antonelli, did not cross into the fast lane until a significant distance down the pit lane and only after the driver checked his mirror to confirm clearance with car 27, Nico Hülkenberg, the document reads. The roll hoop camera shows that he had sufficient room to safely pass the McLaren pits without risk to the McLaren mechanics. The document also issues a reminder that competitors have the right to appeal certain decisions from the stewards. Antonelli being reinstated to P4 means the Italian takes home an additional 2 points, which now ties Mercedes with McLaren at the top of the team's championship standings on 27 points apiece. Wow, yeah, McLaren and Mercedes both equal at the top of the championship. So yeah, basically for those that don't know when it comes to pit lane penalties, and we saw one for somebody else, I really can't think who it was now, but that was a lot more egregious. So basically when it comes to this, the pit lane penalty is for something like this, an unsafe release. Pretty much what happens is that a car is released from the pits, so they've changed the tyres, the jack's down, they're given the signal with the traffic light to go. If they then go and actually go into the fast lane of the pit lane, the bit to the left as they go down the pits, for most tracks, some bits actually goes to the right, doesn't it, depending on clockwise or anti-clockwise. But if they're released into the path of a driver that is oncoming, that is not fully behind them, then they're given a penalty for this. However, because Antonelli did not cut across the path of the Sauber. For example, if Nico Hülkenberg had to brake, if he felt that he was unsafe in that position, it's an unsafe release. They've obviously seen a different camera angle that we've not seen yet on the TV, kind of feeding the highlights and everything. So they've clearly deemed that it was a safe release. It was just borderline, although initially it did look unsafe. So basically that's the long and short of it, guys. I mean, without seeing the camera angle myself, I can't fully judge, but I will admit I was surprised that he was given a penalty for that. And I do think the time penalties for unsafe release, I feel like it's a bit unfair, but it's a very difficult one to kind of think of a punishment for, because it's not the driver's fault. When the green light is on, you have to go. It's Formula 1. Every 10th of a second counts, and it can cost you positions if you don't go when you need to. You know, a slow pit stop of 3 or 3.5 seconds, which is deemed as slow nowadays. I know, unbelievable, isn't it? But that's how quickly you can do it. You know, that can cost you several positions in the race and ruin your Grand Prix as a result. So at the end of the day, it's not the driver's fault, but then how do you punish the teams for it? The only true punishment for a team is either to fine them or give a time penalty for it. I'd personally be more in favour of a fine, to be honest. But, you know, I understand that that's not really a punishment for a lot of these teams because they're multi-billion-dollar organisations at the end of the day. Even a team like Racing Bulls is valued at over $1 billion, so what's a fine of a couple €1,000 going to do? But yeah. Anyway, guys, what do you think? Do you think that Antonelli was a bit fortunate to miss out on a penalty here? Do you think it's the correct decision? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you want to look at my full in-depth review of the Australian Grand Prix that I did earlier today as well, please do check that out. That'll be linked to the end of this video if you're on YouTube. If you're not on YouTube, go look it out, basically, because it might not pop up at the end. It might do, it might not do, depending on the platform you're viewing on. But yeah, your thoughts in the comments below, guys. Like, share, comment, subscribe as always, and yeah, see you real soon on the F1 Chronicle for much more racing action. Absolutely love this weekend's race. Such an amazing start to the 2025 Formula 1 season. Absolutely.